Hello, all. Good morning and good evening to folks who have joined from different parts of the globe. We're very happy to see you. We welcome you all to the wisdom session of Indian Federation of Spiritual Scientists. So happy to see you all in a weekend. Well, today we have a wonderful topic, a very curiosity building topic. I'm myself very curious to know the in and out of this topic. So we're all eagerly waiting for various unleashing of this concept, role of walk-ins in raising human consciousness. Such a curious topic. The moment I heard about this topic, a lot of questions came in my mind. What is this walk-in all about? Is it really scary? Is it really helpful? I had all my doubts. So today we have a wonderful opportunity to listen to this topic from a person who has deep dived into this topic. He has read, as it is, he has read umpteen number of books from Patriji's advice. He has been associated with Patriji for more than 25 years. He has walked along with Patri sir across the length and breadth of the country and even traveled abroad to teach meditation. He's conducted more than 25,000 meditation programs throughout India. Not just he himself, he along with his family, Girija madam, his daughter, everyone. Such a great personality he is. He has served 2 terms as managing trustee for Pyramid Valley International and is now still serving as a trustee there. Because of his relentless commitment, he was conferred with Dhyana Ratna. He was awarded with Dhyana Ratna title by Patri sir himself. Ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, I would like to invite the speaker for today, our own chairman of IFSS, Shri S.K. Rajan sir. Hello, sir. Good evening.
Sunil, your introduction was too very great. I do not know whether I deserve that much of encomiums called them. Okay. Anyhow, I am glad to be here once again to present a very curious topic. As you rightly said, it's a curious matter. And there are people who would like to know and there are people who would not like to know because they have a lot of fear about this particular topic. It is just like death, Suppose I say life after death, then I would not find that many people to listen to it for the simple reason they wouldn't like to know about death. But then the more they do not listen, the more the fear increases. That is what they have to understand. So what do you do then? What is the next step forward? If you ask any spiritual person, he will tell you, learn more about death. Try to know more about death, then you will not have the fear of death. Understand? So the more you have knowledge about something about some subject, then you will definitely be in for it. You will start knowing more about it. You will start getting more anxious about everything that is happening around the world. Similarly, walk-in is such an interesting subject. But I would say, as compared to death, the number of authors who have written about walk-in are very few. Because the concept was not easily accepted earlier. But then, after reading such wonderful books by very great authors like Ruth Montgomery and so many other people, and these people have written about books, written about walk-in, the walk-in operation. And if you start observing what is happening around the world, then you will start believing that we have walk-ins among us. That is why I happened to read one book by Emma Hitchcock James. That is one lady who has written a book, They Walk Among Us. They walk among us means there are people who are almost 100% spiritually enlightened and they are walk-ins, and there is conclusive evidence also that they are walk-ins. So this Emma Hitchcock James says that there is conclusive evidence of survival after death. Many other authors like Michael Newton have also mentioned that there is life after death. There is another author, San D. Polo. He states what most people believe to be on the other side or the other side. That I consider my home. We are all just working our way back. That means what? When you die, you are reaching a home. So your soul goes to the level where it is, from where it is originally come. So you are back at home once you die. So these are the words of very great authors. So there is conclusive proof that there is life after death. But unfortunately, there are some religions which do not accept the aspect of the concept of birth, rebirth after death and all that. So, but then they're not accepting doesn't mean it's not there. We have conclusive proof about all this. So, as far as the spiritual wisdom part of it is concerned, in respect of walk-ins, there is empirical evidence that afterlife is irrefutable as per many brilliant scientists of the 20th century. They've all stated and they have enough proof that there is afterlife. And so they've all come to three conclusions. Number one is we all survive the death of our physical bodies. Even though the body dies, physically it is out from this atmosphere, it is out from this earth. But then we all survive it in the sense our soul goes, it is eternal. Our soul being eternal, it goes to another level, and that is treated as the place where even Sylvia Browne, the great author, has mentioned, we have temples there, temples on the other side, she has written. So our soul goes there and it gains a lot of experience before it again takes one more birth to come back. So the first principle under this concept of life after death is, one, we all survive the death of our physical bodies. Number two is the living mind separates from the dead brain. So the brain is dead, but the living mind, the mind was living. The mind doesn't die, but it separates and it goes to another level. So it is possible for us to experience that and to know what is happening on that side. Now, coming to the other aspect, the third important principle is the etheric body lives on after death, which means we gather a lot of experiences as we go to the other worlds, and we come back with all those experiences, good experiences, of course, which take place on the other worlds, and come back as a renewed citizen of this cosmos to discharge our duties as per the law of karma. So spiritualism affirms that the human spirit survives physical death and enters a spirit world which surrounds and interpenetrates our material life. So communication can and does take place between the worlds of spirit and the earthly being. So if you understand and accept this formula, that is, communication and can take place between the worlds of spirit and the world of the earthly being. So if you accept that, and if you know that this is what is the real fact that has been stated by so many authors, then you will know what a walk-in is. So coming to the definition of walk-in, a walk-in is a high-minded entity who is permitted to take over the body of another human being who wishes to depart. Now, the motivation for a walk-in is to help humanity. The soul returns to physical being in order to help others, help themselves, and planting those concepts, the seed concepts that will flourish for the benefit of mankind. In fact, as we all know, or we would have read, or at least we would have known by now, that our beloved founder, Brahmashri Patriji, Pitamaha Patriji, to whom I give all the credit for all the information, the knowledge, the wisdom that he has passed to me, either by himself or through the books that he has recommended. I bow my head to this great entity, Brahmashi Patriji, who said that he himself is a walk-in. Now, what happened in the year 1979, I'll just share with you, because this is something which I got from him directly, one-to-one. So when he was in that year, when he was in the spiritual path, then he found that he had to do a lot of work, and he was traveling from place to place, trying to teach meditation, etc. In the course of one such venture, he happened to travel by a two-wheeler, and the two-wheeler met with an accident with a four-wheeler, with a car. The car knocked the scooter down, and Patriji happened to fall on the ground. Then what happened was, he immediately recovered. He was taken to the hospital for treatment, but fortunately he didn't have any bruises or anything. But after he was on the bed, he went into the deep sleep, not knowing where he was, because he needed that shock had given him so much of fatigue, and he was thoroughly shocked with this sudden accident that he thought that he is about to die. But at that time, nothing was visible to him. He couldn't understand what is happening. But it so happened he came out safe without even a bruise. And then he went on to his routine duties, attended to his duties. And then the next day, when he happened to visit Sadananda Yogi, his guru, the guru welcomed him with a smile. Can you guess what it is? The guru has identified him and told him that you are a walk-in. I am glad you have become a walk-in now, and I was waiting for this particular experience of yours. So this has happened in the year 1979. The accident happened, and then he became a walk-in, and through that walk-in operation, a series of things took place, and that is how he did very wonderfully in the spiritual path and in the spiritual field. So the particular walkout in such cases is a special master who allows a walk-in to arrive. So what happens in the course of a walk-in operation? Let us try to understand that. A person who is on his normal duties, he will be doing his normal duties in this world of ours, going to the office or going to the school or college or whatever be his age, or spending his retired life. But then a time comes when there is a sudden change in his, not only his thinking, but all his mindset, his operations, his daily activities, everything gets a complete change. And he starts thinking more in terms of the larger community around him rather than his own family or the close relatives and the close community. So from then on, there is a complete change in this particular person. In the sense, he thinks with a broader vision, and he starts doing things which are bound to give more benefits, not only to individuals, but to masses of people. And he wants to do more and more. So his selfishness completely vanishes, and he feels that it is time for me to spend, it's time for me to think what I should do so that the world can be a better place to live in. So this concept of walk-ins it hit the spiritual community for the first time through the book of a very great author, Ruth Montgomery. Ruth Montgomery was, as it is, a press correspondent attached to the White House, and she was doing her routine duties. That was when she happened to meet one gentleman by name Ford. I do not remember the first name. It's not Henry Ford, it's some other, Michael Ford or something. So she met this gentleman, and this gentleman was a psychic person. So in the course of her routine duties with this person, when she used to take out press correspondence, conduct press correspondence conferences on behalf of the White House, etc., then one day when there was a close encounter with this gentleman, he told her that it is time she starts examining whether she can at all do what is known as auto writing. Then she asked a question, why is it you have such a feeling? Then this psychic person said that you have all the capabilities of doing auto writing. And if you start it, probably you may shine better. So with this intention in mind, she did not openly accept it or immediately accept it. But then she thought the time has come that to experiment on it. So what she did was that after a few days in the morning, she just took out a typewriter and started typing. When she started typing, she found when she wanted a question and she wanted, suppose the question is, what is my life's purpose? Then she starts typing. Immediately, your life's purpose is to keep on giving spiritual wisdom. Suppose, so the answer is not typed by her with all the knowledge or with all the commitment there, but the typewriter automatically types it out. So that is how she came into this concept of auto writing. And from then on, she had one guide who was guiding her in all her actions. And this lady took to writing more and more, asking more and more questions to that guide. And the guide started giving her all the questions that she was wanting to know. In the course of this great adventure, she found that there are so many souls in this earth who are all walk-ins, and if you analyze the life history of many of them, you will find that up to a particular age, they maintained a certain type of habit, certain types of activities were a passion to them, and certain services or certain works which they were doing, which are all very special. Such works will suddenly relegate to the background. So the persons with whom I am quoting, out of that, the most important example of a walk-in is Mahatma Gandhi. As you all know, and we all know, if you read the life history of Mahatma Gandhi, that until a particular age, say about 30 years or so, he was very much attentive to his job, wanting to do his job as a solicitor, and regularly doing his duties, although he had his own feelings about people, feelings about men, about beings, etc. But nothing was coming out from him, nor did he discuss this with anyone. So that way it was going on. But suddenly, after a particular age, he started thinking in terms of society, in terms of the nation, in terms of the world. So that is when there was a thorough change in his whole attitude. From then on, he started thinking of how to free India, and he started thinking about the actions that are needed to be taken by him. Although unilaterally and alone, he started thinking about how to free India from the British rule. So Mahatma Gandhi is an outstanding example of a walk-in. Like that, we have Albert Einstein, we have Benjamin Franklin, we have another person by name John Ottenham, B-J-O-R-N, John. John Ottenham, R is silent there. So we call it John Ottenham. So all these people, if you analyze their history, at some period of their lives, they have realized the need for a completely different outlook altogether, so that they can be of service to humanity as either scientists or political leaders or activists, etc. So from then on, they found that they have made the lives of so many millions of people better and smoother and more blissful than it was earlier. So you will find when a person becomes a walk-in, not only in respect of his dress, for which he used to care so much. You may remember, if you read the life history of Mahatma Gandhi, that his dress used to be ironed and washed and sent to the laundry in Paris. Can you imagine? And it used to come back, and then he used to wear only such dress, and he used to be in tip-top style and always in luxurious dresses, luxurious food, etc. But then, after thinking about freedom for the country, and after he became a walk-in, he just relinquished all these bigger habits or bigger luxuries available to him, and his mindset completely changed. Even his dress, he just renounced, and you must have seen he's almost bare-bodied, and he also found more interest in reading the Bhagavad Gita and books like that. So not only your dress and not only your food, and your mindset, but also the books that you read and the company that you have, both change in a very big way. As far as books are concerned, they start reading books which are giving a lot of wisdom, spiritual wisdom. So because they believe that you have to get equipped with a lot of spiritual wisdom so that you can proceed in this society and make people more enlightened. So the aim of the IFSS is to make everyone spiritually enlightened. So walk-ins are more required to in the whole world, in various corners, either as scientists or as doctors or as political leaders who would be more committed to discharge their duty in the best way possible. So walk-ins are all enlightened beings, and now they serve the society secretly and anonymously among us to guide humanity through the upheavals ahead. So what we have to understand from this is that walk-ins do not happen just like that. They are chosen people, and now in the course of this session today, we'll try to know how they are chosen, how they discharge their duties, and what can we do to understand walk-ins and become a walk-in also. So the walk-in has come in this form as a walk-in, according to Ruth Montgomery, to tell us how we can live longer by carrying out the proper routine as far as our lifestyle is concerned, how we can achieve our fullest potential, how we can utilize the unused portions of our minds and spirits, and what can we do to save ourselves and the others from a world war or global disasters that may occur in future. So let us know what I will narrate it or explain to you by means of questions. Like, for example, what are walk-ins? Walk-in means a spirit that walks into a living body instead of being born as a baby. So what happens is the person who is walked in he allows or gives permission for another soul to enter his body, so that the work that has been done by that person can be continued, but because the other person is unable to continue his or her part of the duties to society. So an exchange of souls is made when there is a walk-in, because this exchange of soul happens when the occupying soul wants to go out. So, for example, if in the case of so many people, we will know that when an accident takes place, or when an illness takes place, or when they have a NDE means near-death experience. When they have a near-death experience, in such cases, what happens is one soul goes out and one soul comes in. So the soul that is walking out invariably is one who is not able to deal with the karma with which he or she faces. For that, an excellent example I can tell you is about Sylvia Browne. Sylvia Browne was a very psychic lady, and she has written many books out of channeling. And all the channeled material, I would say, are simply out of the world books which consider so much wisdom about the other side, the complete operations that take place in the other side, the moment a body is body dies, the body is out of this existence. So in the case of Sylvia Brown, she was destined to be alive until the age of 88. But when she was hardly 75 or 76, that too on 26th of December, 26th of November, on a particular year, I forgot the year. And she happened to suddenly get an attack, and she had to pass away, and she had to vacate her body. But what has led to that is a series of problems that she envisaged in the course of her routine duties as a psychic reader, because she happened to be, the full name of Mrs. Brown is Sylvia Brown. Sylvia Brown. And so Sylvia Brown was facing a lot of legal issues, tax issues, plus health issues. So all these she could not sustain or fight it out. Although she was a very reputed speaker, especially in Montel Williams channel shows, etc. She used to appear, and she has been interviewed by very great personalities to know more and more about the other worlds. But at that stage in her life, she had to give up everything because of all these problems which came together. So she decided to take a break. So it is her soul which entered another person's body, and that soul continues to work today. So similarly, in so many people's life, it happens because the duty which is to be discharged by the person who becomes a walk-in is tremendous, but the work is done at the instance and on the advice of so many great masters from the other worlds. So that is very much evident if you read the book Threshold to Tomorrow by Ruth Montgomery. In that book, she describes the life of John Ottenham, who happened to be none other than Albert Einstein taking a new body in Ottenham. So John Ottenham was a person who became a walk-in in the year 1967, but he was unable to know how or in what way he is really operating, because he suddenly started getting a lot of knowledge, especially when he went to sleep and through various other guides who were appearing to him in his dreams. So what he did was, when he came to know about Ruth Montgomery, he decided he will contact her. So he rang her up. So from the year 1967 onwards, he was carrying on this operation, but only in the year 1980, he took the courage and decided that I should know more about myself. So why not I contact someone who knows about what is really happening? So then he came to know that there is a concept of walking, and then it was Ruth Montgomery who brought him out to the world and exposed him to the world and brought a lot of information, a lot of knowledge to this world through John Ottenham. And he's a very popular figure, I would tell you, because it is his history, it is his life history that we should know more and more, because it is he who was the brain behind what you have today in the form of electronic vehicles, electric vehicles, EVs, what you call them. Because John Ottenham had wanted to carry out what Einstein had done. And in fact, if you see the life of Albert Einstein, he did not die a very happy person, although he was very successful. And what is the reason? Because whatever he learned and whatever he gave to society in the form of the theory of relativity and so much about energy, about hydrogen, etc., he had given. But then ultimately, all this knowledge that this great Einstein gave to the world was not only misused, it was used only to make money by a set of people, a set of industrialists, and set of top people who wanted to exploit it. And seeing all this, that is how the nuclear bomb also arose. Seeing this, he was very, very much pained, Albert Einstein. So he said that There's no point in my doing so much invention and giving the world something which I thought will be so useful, but it happens to be only a killer. So, seeing all this, John Ottenham had also read about Albert Einstein, and then it was in his mind that something has to be done to solve the question of climate change, the question of pollution, and healing of disease. So these are the three areas which he wanted to concentrate, and also to create a new sort of energy which will enable the world to function in a better manner. So John Ottenham later on started corresponding with Ruth Montgomery about all these matters, especially energy, whatever he used to get. So there was a group of other world masters. They were known as power of light. So he wanted to know from Ruth Montgomery, who are these people who are giving me so much information about science, about energy, about theory, relativity, etc. Then it was Ruth who told him that don't worry, you keep on receiving all this information, because Ruth herself, Ruth Montgomery, was not a technical student knowing anything about electronics or about energy or about nuclear weapons, etc. But then she is honest enough to confess in the book, even though I did not know what all this matters, but then I came to know only one thing, that here is a person who wants to do something better and continue the tradition of Albert Einstein to the greatest extent possible throughout his life. And that is what he attempted to do. And in the course of that, he was the person who found out that you can have vehicles driven not by petrol, not by diesel, not by fuel, but by electric transmission or even by hydrogen. That is also possible according to him. That he has found out. Now, the point that we have to understand, or we have to question ourselves, is how is it that he gets all this knowledge? Then the immediate answer is there are masters helping from the other worlds. They help only such souls who have been selfless in their lives. So let us try to understand how all this happens. That will come in the course of this discussion, how it happens. But I just wanted to just give you this information that this matter of EV has come up only through a walk-in, and we should be thankful, our whole society should be thankful to such a great person for introducing it. And again, the thanks should go in turn to all the universal masters who have been always guiding humanity in their own ways to make life better here. So when does the walk-in occur? This is an important question. The soul walking out decides that it cannot deal further with the karma, as I told you in the case of Sylvia Brown. So there are similar cases, it happens. So at that time, that soul decides that enough of this is happening. I want to transfer, I want to continue this work, but this work cannot be continued by me because I have got very much affected. I've been affected by all circumstances. So it is better someone who is more capable takes over from me to continue the operations which I have been doing. So in the end, coming back to Sylvia Brown, she had narrated in one of her books that she would live until the age of 88. But on learning about this, I happened to get some information from my daughter who is in the US that on account of all the problems that she had decided that it is enough of this life, and she could not carry on her work in the spiritual arena any longer. That is why she decided to walk out of this whole earth. So she died at the age of around 65, although she was destined to be 80 up to 88, according to her one of the books where she has written about it. So psychic reader, she definitely should have known by what age she would be able to serve society. But here it could not happen because of this problem. So I infer that the soul which has taken over that particular soul is definitely doing what work she was doing, and that is why she walked out. So the walk-in body must continue as it is not yet time to go. So the soul walking out decides it cannot deal with the karma, but the walk-in body will continue the work as it is not yet time for it to go. So both the parties, walk in and walk out, both agree to this change. Now the next question that we have is, where is it planned, worked out, or decided? Here it's very easy to know, and of course Dolores Cannon is another very great author who has written a book, Conversation with the Body. If you happen to read it, you will know there is a special chapter on walk-ins. There she says, Dolores Cannon says, on the spirit side, masters discuss it and the decisions are made on the at the spirit side itself. So they will decide who is to walk out and who is to walk in. In whom the soul has to walk. So that decision is also taken by the astral masters. Now, next point of the question that arises is, who takes the decision as to who is to enter whose body? This is a very important and interesting question. So the master decide after identifying and satisfying themselves that the qualities of the concerned spirits, that is the spirits who are changing souls, whether the qualities of the concerned spirits are sufficiently similar and the change in the walk-in and the walk-out are not greatly noticeable. So what happens is, this change will not be visible. You will not know that this person has suddenly changed. You may see a friend who has been always gambling or always spending his time not very usefully. Then suddenly you will find this person has become like something like a recluse, something like a sannyasi, and he starts reading books and he starts going to the library very often, reads only specified books, specified types of books. It may be philosophical, or it may be mythological, or it may be very, very religious books which he reads. And suddenly there is a complete change in the attitude from this fellow. Conversations with the spirit is also there by Dolores Cannon. So then what happens is, after that, the qualities of the spirits completely change, and there is a complete change in that particular person, and he becomes the place where the walk-in enters, the walk-in operation takes place. So the decision as to who is to enter is decided by the masters themselves. They themselves identify the particular body in which the walk-in operation has to take place, knowing the qualities of the person who is to render this job or complete this job. Now, do these entities know each other? Mostly they know each other, because in some lives they would have been together. So in the case of, suppose you take the case of Einstein and Ottenham, they have definitely known each other, or they have spent life together in some other planet, in some other lifetime. So similar knowledge would have been there. Both are inclined very much towards the physics aspect of it, the physics subject, which has been really giving them so much of knowledge, and regarding how to change energy, make energy a better energy, and all that. All these things they would have shared among themselves very many lives earlier. So it is only the astral masters who can decide who are those people who have lived together, who have been able to convey the information usefully to the society. So next point is, what are the qualities that a walk-in will have? Normally, how do the masters decide? There is a question that we would all like to know. So how do the masters decide who is to be a walk-in, and how do we take a decision in this respect? What is the most important thing is, the person who becomes a walk-in for another soul should have completed many, many lifetimes. What does that mean? That it is not an infant soul, it is not a young soul, it is a completely old soul. We call them old souls because they completed many lifetimes, which means in turn that they have gathered enough information and enough spiritual knowledge to know what is good, what is bad, etc. So that is very useful. So completed many lifetimes is the first point. Second is, they take over the willing souls ready to depart. So as I told you in the case of Sylvia Brown, she was ready to depart because she has reached such a disgusting stage in her life that she felt that she is no longer useful to society because of her health and other reasons. So she so they found someone who was willing to take over from her, and that person became a walk-in. Now, another quality is that they should have completed their term on earth and come voluntarily to help humanity. So, invariably, the walk-in does not remain in the same condition insofar as his body, mind, and intelligence is concerned. Everything changes, and they come voluntarily to help humanity. The prime examples, the walk-ins are prime examples of immortality of the soul, because they are flowered and waned and come again. Most of them who are walk-ins, they are done their best, and again they come again for another session of walk-in on this earth. So they come to earth with all the knowledge. Invariably, all these people who relinquish their life here and change over to another person, the new person that walk in has come with all the knowledge of deep awareness, knowledge of Akashic records, etc. All this will be there with them. So they will be fully equipped to discharge their duties in the best manner possible. The walk-ins also will have the capacity to communicate not only with the human beings with whom he or she is living or who are present, but also with all those who are present on the physical plane, but are seldom seen or heard by those in the physical body, which means they will be getting information through other masters, as in the case of John Artenham, in the sleep or in their dreams or through channeling, etc. Many of them are channels. You must have come to know that by now, that many of these people, knowledge is given only through channeling or mediumship. So many become mediums of greater masters. So all the knowledge is coming to them in that way. So these walk-ins they come not as masters but as servants, and their task is to help others to discover the truth for themselves. So now we come to this frequently answered questions as far as walk-ins are concerned. Is not this concept of walk-in frowned upon because one soul enters the other body, and then is there no taking of the life? No, not at all. Because there is no taking the life of anyone. So there is no question on another person just in killing anyone and then taking over his life or doing things after that. That is not there. So there is nothing to, this concept is not criticized or avoided, but it is found to be more knowledgeable and more useful to society. But now some may ask, is it not like suicide? No, this is a trade between two parties who are agreeing to the walk-in operation. One entity relinquishing his or their life to another does not result in any harm, but a lot of good to humanity. So it is not like suicide at all. But is it not close to possession, like possessing a spirit? Say you say such one person has been possessed and then he acts in a different manner. So something has happened to him. He stops smiling. He stops laughing. He's always glum. And it appears he is also fearful. So in such cases, you may say that that person is possessed. But in possession, what happens is a warped spirit would control another. That spirit takes the control of that particular body and starts operating and makes him act in the way that spirit wants. But here, as far as walk-in operation is concerned, there is no control in a walk-in exercise. There is only a stepping into another body when that spirit is willing and is done with total permission in possession. In possession, it is done only without any permission and without any right that ghost enters. So, but in the case of walk-in, it is done absolutely with concurrence. The both are agreeable to this operation, and that is that permission is also granted, and there is no control at all. Is it not right to state that these occurrences are becoming frequent, and if so, why? That is one question that many people would like to ask. And there I have to mention, see, the pressures of living on earth are becoming too great, mainly because one is the population. Population is very large. Number two, the climate change has taken place, and there is a scarcity of not only food but also water, and there is a lot of difficulty in carrying on the missions on this world. Every day it becomes more and more difficult. Despite all the innovations and all the technology improvement, we find the pressure of living on this earth is becoming very great. So, for example, if you take vehicles, for example, vehicles are moving around, and we have vehicles moving everywhere in every country, and it has been multiplying by leaps and bounds. The number of vehicles in each city or in each country we see it has been multiplied, and all of them depend upon the fuel. And what is the fuel available? It is either petrol or it is diesel. So this is coming from oil. So it is only oil which is running the economy and nothing more. So what is happening is gradually there is a shortage of oil, there's a shortage of water, there's a shortage of even air, pure air. So the pollution and all are causing a lot of calamities, and people are given a lot of problems. We are put to a lot of problems because of this shortage. So the time is therefore come for more and more information technology from the astral masters, and more better ways of living our lives here. So it may be possible that we may come across a lot of people in our own society or outside who are walk-ins, but we do not know whether they are. But we can always find out by their actions, by their movements, by their thoughts, by all that we can find out. And what do the walk-ins have to tell us? Those, suppose you have met a walk-in, what does he have to tell? So any walk-in will be able to tell you how you can live longer, what you should do to live longer, how you can achieve your better potential or the fullest potential, how you can utilize the unused portions of your mind and spirit, and what can we do to save ourselves from disasters, global disasters, etc. So now it will now be important to know that we are all people who are doing our meditation and doing all our spiritual work. But at the same time, there are people who suddenly change their entire attitude and entire setup, their company, even their company changes. So then what happens is these people become they become a walk-in, and they start completely diverting their attention to things which are more useful to the community. So it is possible for each of us to think about how to become a walk-in. And so we'll have to have certain commandments to be followed if we have to be a proper walk-in. A walk-in who can be useful. Every walk-in is useful, but there is what is known as a brotherhood group among the walk-ins. And when you become a walk-in, the potential to become another member of a group which also consists of walk-ins will help the messages coming from astral masters to be transferred and to be known, so that you can discharge your duties better. So let us now see what are the commandments that are to be followed in the case of walk-ins. So after becoming a walk-in, what are the things that you have to do as a walk-in? First, consistently raise your vibrations to enable receiving energies from higher vibrations. So we should always be very careful about our words, about our thoughts, and about how we discharge our duties, whether we are causing any harm either to any being, any living being, or to human being, or to any other natural areas like water bodies, etc., that we are causing any harm. This is very important. So these walk-ins are always able to do all this, because all the good work to enable society to get the cream of people living in this world, So they raise their vibration, then their vibrations are always at the highest level. The second is they finish the important tasks which the walk-in had begun in the first phase of the mission. So when a person becomes a walk-in, say for example, suppose you become a walk-in of say Mahatma Gandhi, then it is important for you to see what are the jobs which Mahatma Gandhi had or as his priorities. So the remaining work which he wanted to do and which he could not do should be taken over by the new walk-in, who has to, because the aims, the objects, and the principles with which the earlier person remained on this earth, that has to be borne in mind, and the operations have to be continued. The third one is to reject the work and things that do not hold any excitement for you. So the work which does not help you or which you do not find favor. For example, there are people who think that politics is not their cup of tea. So then you need not appear in that. If you particularly find that it is not useful to society, or if you find that it has reached its saturation point, so then what will happen is you only take up work which will improve the common lot, and it will hold a lot of excitement for you. So the next point is, what is the next commandment? That is, you should deliver service publicly and reject payments. Once you become a walk-in, there is no selfishness at all. You have to discharge your duties in the best manner possible, selflessly, and that is what Patriji is a standing example of a walk-in. What more do you want? We know from then on he decided what his work is. That is to make the whole world a vegetarian world and to spread pyramid energy, spread meditation, make everyone enlightened, as is the goal of the IFSS also. So Patriji's work, Patriji's life is a standing example of how a walk-in should be and what are the important commandments that a walk-in should have or as a policy. The next is that then attached to nothing, expect nothing, and fear nothing. There is no fear. So Patriji is again an example. He had no attachment for money. He did everything that he felt is right, and he expected nothing more than spiritual wisdom to be disseminated to the maximum number of people. So stop looking at yourself through the eyes of the world and instead take to yourself through the eyes of your higher self. That means your higher self is your astral guide. The astral guide, whatever he or she thinks to help you, that should be borne in mind, and you should go only by in terms of the advice of the astral guide. So that way, these 7 commandments will help you to discharge your duties as a walk-in in the best manner possible. In the course of which you will also get a lot of astral knowledge, because that will help, as in the case of John Ottenheim. He started getting this information. In fact, he was about to commit suicide because he felt that although he had all the knowledge, but he couldn't carry it forward. But then after he became a walk-in, the changes I would like to just tell you. One is he started living a simpler life. He started going hunting animals. He started going for flying. He was a good flyer. He used to fly in the sky. He used to also do skydiving, etc. And all these hobbies he stopped, and his life became more serious and more oriented, so that he can discharge his duties. So that way he became a very successful person. Although his life was personal life, he had some problems. But after he became a walk-in, his wife also joined him in carrying out the duties of how to make this earth a better place, especially in stopping pollution. So according to him, and according to Ruth Montgomery, the main reason which can come up in the next century for a war is the depletion of oil. So as long as oil is the main commodity which runs the vehicles, you will have problems because the world will not be having sufficient oil for all the vehicles in the world to run. So it is better to look for alternative energies so that people can live a comfortable life. And oil can be a reason for having a third world war. That is what they have mentioned. And the only way to circumvent that, according to Ruth Montgomery, as obtained from John Ottenham, is to build a 243 feet height pyramid, and the pyramid will give you a lot of electronic energy. It will also pass on the energy, which is universal energy, which is available throughout the world. It will be diverted and it will be funneled through this pyramid, which can be another source of energy. As we all know, pyramid is a source of energy. It is a storehouse of energy, rather. So when this happens, then the world will be a better place. And that is what will take place when there are more and more walk-ins coming into this world. So the time has come, according to Ruth Montgomery, for people to know that there is life on the other side, and the energies and wisdom that is passed on by the umpteen astral masters from the other side are to be taken very seriously, and we should discharge our duties in the best way possible and live our lives anew. That means almost a new life comes when you become a walk-in, and change entire lifestyle and your habits, so that it will suit the entire world. Even your food habits will change to make you a better citizen of this great cosmos. So with these words, I would request Sunil to take over and tell me what next.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. I think that really indeed was very enlightening talk. A lot of doubts got cleared and a lot of fear got cleared out. That was indeed really I must confess. I mean, it's because you have read so much that all these wisdoms are pouring out. Well, friends, now we are into the question and answer session. We'll take few questions. You can feel free to raise your hand for asking questions directly, or you can post them in the chat. Sometimes life takes U-turn because of circumstances. And there is complete change in personality in positive way. Can it be an example of walk-in?
As far as a walk-in is concerned, mere difficulties that you encounter cannot be a reason for a walk-in. Understand? A walk-in operation takes place only when there is a personal problem which arises. In the sense, I told you an accident is one, and illness is also another. When the person is under a continuous illness for a long time, and then suddenly he gets up. I don't know whether you have seen the latest issue of Spiritual Science. There is one Dr. Alexander who had a very serious operation. This book has just been released 2 days back. This journal of ours, Spiritual Sciences or IFSS journal. Please go through that. There is one Dr. Alexander who's a very great doctor, but suddenly he went into a coma. Can you imagine this man, after going into a coma, he got up. From then on, he starts telling something entirely new, which is not, he's never used to saying or speaking about all these things, about the world, about how to get on better, how to make yourself spiritually enlightened, all this. But he started talking about all this. So if you read that Dr. Alexander's version of it, it's wonderful. So your illness and your change in your life's problems that you have, those are not indications that you are becoming a walk-in. Those are not the change will be very, very clear. In fact, in my house, we have got 3 walk-ins. So your natural environment, your habits, your speech, your actions, all that will change completely. Understand? It will be a complete U-turn after that. That you can make out a walk-in from that. Till then, you would have seen the person would be a wayward fellow, not very interested in anything, doesn't sit. You give him a book, you read just 2 lines and then put the book down. Understand? But then the fellow suddenly changes. He starts reading he starts reading the Bible or reading Swami Chiman and those books, something like that. So you will see sudden change in that person and he will become quieter, mind you. No talkative nature and all. They will become very quiet and they will observe more silence after they become walk-ins. So I hope I have answered the question raised by this friend of ours, that your absence will not mean that we are becoming.
Is there any chance that the dark souls walk into human beings?
In the case of a walk-in, in the case of Patriji, for example, he has told us, so I know it. In the case of Patriji, what happened was, when he met with an accident and he was taken to the hospital, he saw Guru Raghavendra, Jesus, and I think it was Mother Baba. These are the 3 masters who have supervised the walk-in operation. So when there is a walk-in operation taking place, there will be invariably 2 to 3 masters witnessing the arrangement. And you know why do they do it? To prevent dark souls from entering that body. You understand? It's a very good question, and it gave me suddenly, it made me aware that I have not narrated this. But now you can understand this. Yes, himself told me, and I know in the case of all the others, who are the people who are witnesses to the walk-in operation, wherever a walk-in has occurred or wherever a person has occurred. So dark souls could enter, but dark souls cannot enter. Understand? Because they are all enlightened masters who are witnessing the operation. You understand?
Do souls have age?
Souls don't have age. Souls do not have age. They can continue for as long as they wish.
Like say you mentioned Sylvia Brown as an example. Will she know that a walk-in has operated into her, and does that come into a person's awareness that so I am being?
You see, when the walk-in operation takes place, what happens is this person ceases to exist. The eternal soul has gone. The body is already vacated. Understand? She will never come to know. But then the masters have decided that so-and-so is suitable to become a walk-in. Okay. And they will never come to know. They will never come to know. Because after that, what happens? The spirit goes to the other world, then she will come back as a reincarnate. Okay. To discharge her duties to the extent that is left out by the walk-in. Understand? The walk-in has to do the balance of the work. Suppose there is still some work left after that, she will come and discharge. Understand?
In our path of our spiritual journey, both in terms of knowledge and experience, how much does this subject, play a role in it? Is it now? Should we just consider this knowledge? Yes, walk-in is as a concept, and how much should we be, to what extent should we be carrying this? Is it just limited knowledge or?
Yeah. See, to become a walk-in, first of all, you have to adopt the spiritual path without any other attraction. You understand? 110% you should be involved in your spiritual work. There's no doubt about it. You can't be seeing all the films possible and at the same time becoming a walk-in. It's difficult, You want to live a life of pleasure and enjoyment and also become a walk-in. It's not possible. A walk-in is a distinct person who has got special qualities which come to him, and that is why he is a chosen one by the Asli masters. You understand? So then what happens is, then everything changes after that, and their attitude, their company, their books, everything changes.
Can a walk-in get in and get out without a person's consent?
Yeah, possible. I told you right from the beginning, it's an exchange, it's an agreement between the two souls. They would have made it in their sleep, okay? Or they would have made it in some other manner. by the both souls conversing with each other or meeting each other. It may be possible they are not aware of it. It is just like I am not aware which year I'll die, okay, or which year anything good will happen or bad will happen. So no one is aware. But we suddenly see our neighbor who has been here and out, suddenly it disappears. That is why it is known as the law of uncertainty. Suddenly it disappears. But he has given a consent to living only for this many years as per the agreement which he has made in the previous lifetime. You understand? After he has gone to the other worlds, that is what Celia Brown says. In the other words, you decide that you are going to live only for 50 years. Then what is a big shock you have when you find that he has died? He has himself decided at the age. Only thing is he doesn't remember, his family won't remember. Understand? That he has already made such a declaration or an oath that he will not live beyond 50.
Is there any qualification needed to become a walk-in?
The qualification is, one, you should be on the spiritual path. Number two, no selfishness on anything, no glamour, or no special attraction for money, luxuries, and everything good. No. A walker is a person who gives out to the world. He has come here to give out to the world whatever he wants. He doesn't want anything for himself. He wants to discharge his duties as a rightful citizen of this cosmos and as a dutiful citizen.
So what is the difference between walk-in and a medium? Can walk-in be temporary? Can come and go?
No. You see, mediumship is something, it is a short-term affair. So what happens is, I'll tell you a living example. My wife is a living example, okay, of a medium and a walk-in too. And that medium in the sense, she was a medium when Mahatma Gandhi started giving her messages, and his soul came and told her that from 15th August, it happened on 15th August, I think it's 2001, okay. When we were having a full night meditation on the banks of the Sangam River in Srirangapatna, okay. Then he appeared in the dream, in that meditation, and said that I will come to you every day at 6 p.m. Okay. So be ready to take the messages every day at 6 p.m. And it happened for 22 days. And I was the person recording whatever messages was coming, and exactly it came. It used to last between 30 minutes to 40 minutes. And we recorded in a diary. And then after 22 days, Gandhiji didn't appear. He had told earlier, 22 days I'll appear. And every day at 6 p.m. Okay. So this is known as mediumship. But after that, she had an accident in which a lot of bricks fell over her head, and she got started bleeding profusely and was admitted to the nursing home. She had a small surgery and all that. And after that, she recovered. Then she came to know she has become a walk-in of Kasturba Gandhi. Okay. So she's both mediums and walk-in, both are taken place. But mediumship was a short affair, a very small affair, temporary affair. But a walk-in is a lifetime operation. From then on, she's a walk-in. So that is how, from then on, everything's changed. Her attitude, her mindset, her books, her actions, everything changed.
Can a walk-in have some supernatural powers also?
See, walk-ins do not have supernatural powers, but they have supernatural information. Understand? The knowledge which they get, invariably they get it from other walk-ins. They won't discuss with the ordinary mortals, about what is the price of tomatoes today. That is not something they will ask. But they may ask whether something is coming to get a cancer. A cure for cancer. Is it possible? It can come through a walk-in only. Understand? Cures have come for BCE, for TB, etc. only through walk-ins. And even that's I told you, this EV has come through a walk-in. Understand? Electric vehicles have come through a walk-in. So please, such things can happen. Such things are sure to happen. So because the knowledge they get is from other walk-ins who have got direct access to astral masters. And astral masters feed them this information so that it will be useful to humanity. So a cure for cancer could come through a walk-in at any point of time. It could happen.
does the body have to die for a walk-in to take over, please?
Body doesn't have to die. The body can just incur an accident, and then it'll be a near-death accident. Listen, ND, near-death experience rather. A near-death experience, and then it becomes okay. That is one way. Another way is through sleep, it can suddenly happen. Another way is through a coma. He is in a coma for some time. But after he recovers, you will find that you will never ask what time I have to go to go for my surgery, or what time should I be this thing. He will not be time conscious. You understand? For him, every minute is important, so he will never ask for the time. Everything will change. His whole attitude, mindset, everything changes.
Great. Thank you so very much, sir. I think it was indeed a pleasure having you again and giving this wisdom to all of us. I'm sure all the participants have taken a lot of wisdom into their understanding. Thank you very much. And
All the best.
yes, have a wonderful weekend and have a nice night and good morning in the US and other parts of the globe. Thank you all once again. Thank you once again, Rajan sir, for taking out time and being with us today. Thank you so much.